In the quiet village of Aurora, Sofia, a brave and imaginative 10-year-old girl, decides to change the life of Samuel, a boy with muscular dystrophy who has always lived on the sidelines. Despite criticism and challenges, Sofia creates a world of possibilities for Samuel, showing that love and inclusion can overcome any obstacle. But when life surprises them with an unexpected farewell, Sofia learns that some friendships carry an eternal purpose and leave a legacy that lights up even the darkest days. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Stick with us until the end because this story might be more surprising than you think. Aurora Village was one of those postcard-perfect little towns, with cobblestone streets, colorful houses, and a small square always filled with kids running and playing. At the heart of the village was New Hope School, the place where all stories began, including Samuel's. Samuel was 9 years old and, unlike most kids, had never run or played in the square. He lived with muscular dystrophy, a condition that confined him to a wheelchair and often left him silent, even when he wanted to join in. At school, things were even harder. While the other kids gathered during recess to play soccer or tag, Samuel stayed off to the side, his eyes filled with longing, as if watching a movie he could never be part of. That morning, while the teacher explained an art project, Sofia, a girl with curly brown hair and curious eyes, noticed Samuel for the first time. It wasn't that she had never seen him before, everyone knew Samuel, but something about him caught her attention that day. He was sitting alone, as usual, slowly scribbling on a piece of paper. After class, while the others ran off to the playground, Sofia stayed behind. She was the kind of person who couldn't just walk away when something felt off. She pulled up a chair and sat next to him. "Hi, Samuel," she said with a smile. He looked up slowly, as if unsure what to expect. "Hi," he replied softly, his voice barely above a whisper. "Why don't you ever come play with us?" Sofia asked, as bluntly as only a child can. Samuel shrugged. "I can't run, or play soccer, so, what's the point?" Sofia frowned, thinking hard. "Who says you need to run to play?" she asked, with a determination that caught him off guard. Samuel didn't reply, but for the first time, he felt like someone was trying to see beyond his wheelchair. The bell rang, cutting their conversation short. But Sofia left the classroom with a single thought: she wasn't going to let Samuel stay silent anymore. That night, as she stared at the pile of toys in the corner of her room, an idea began to form. It was the kind of idea that could change everything. All she needed was courage, and maybe an old rope. The next morning, Sofia arrived at school with a backpack noticeably fuller than usual. During class, she could hardly focus, too excited for recess. As the teacher explained multiplication on the chalkboard, Sofia kept thinking, will he say yes? When the bell finally rang, she hurried over to Samuel, who, as usual, was near the classroom entrance, quietly watching the commotion. "Hi, Samuel," she said enthusiastically, her eyes sparkling in a way that made him look up. "Hi," he replied, cautiously. "Today, you're going to play with me," Sofia declared, as if there were no room for debate. Samuel blinked, confused. "How?" Sofia opened her backpack and pulled out a long, colorful rope, seemingly made from bits of fabric tied together. "With this," she said, holding it up like it was the key to some grand secret. Samuel stared at it, puzzled. "It's just a rope." "Just a rope?" Sofia laughed. "This can be anything we want it to be. It can be a horse, a kite, or even a fishing line." He stayed silent, unsure. But Sofia wasn't giving up. "Come on. I promise it'll be fun." Reluctantly, Samuel let Sofia push his wheelchair to the playground, where the other kids were playing soccer. He could already hear the whispers and giggles, but Sofia didn't seem to notice. She tied the rope to the arm of his wheelchair and began to gently pull, making exaggerated ship sounds. "Captain Samuel, we're sailing on the open seas," she shouted theatrically. "You're the commander, and I'm your loyal first mate." Samuel's eyes lit up for a moment, as if he wanted to believe in the fantasy. "And what if the ship sinks?" he asked, trying to join the game. "Then I'll dive in and save you," Sofia replied, laughing. Some of the kids stopped playing soccer to watch. The whispers grew louder, but Sofia didn't seem to care. Samuel, however, felt every look and comment like a pinprick to the heart. "Maybe we should stop," he murmured, trying to back away. Sofia stopped, but instead of giving up, she looked at him with determination. "It doesn't matter what they say. You have just as much right to have fun as anyone else here." Samuel took a deep breath. For the first time, he felt like someone was willing to fight for him, even if it meant facing stares and laughter. "Okay," he said at last. "Let's keep sailing." And there, on that playground, while Sofia spun tales of pirates and treasure islands, Samuel began to feel something he hadn't felt in a long time, the joy of being seen. Later that day, as he headed home, one thought kept running through Samuel's mind: "I wonder if she'll want to play with me again tomorrow." Little did he know, Sofia was already planning their next adventure. The next day, Sofia arrived at school with an even more elaborate plan. This time, she brought a softball painted in vibrant colors and some colorful ribbons. Her mission was clear: to show Samuel that the possibilities were far greater than he could ever imagine. As soon as the recess bell rang, Sofia ran to Samuel, who was already waiting near the classroom window. "Ready for today?" she asked, her smile lighting up everything around her. Samuel raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What are you up to now?" Sofia pulled the ball from her backpack and showed him the ribbons she had attached to it. "Today, we're going to play ball." Samuel tilted his head, skeptical. "Sofia, I can't kick." "Who said you need to kick?" she replied, brimming with excitement. Out on the playground, Sofia tied one of the ribbons to Samuel's wheelchair and held the other end. She gave it a gentle tug, making the ball roll slowly toward him. "See? Now you just pull it back," she explained. Samuel hesitated, then grabbed the ribbon and gave it a timid pull, sending the ball back to Sofia. She jumped with joy, as if he had just scored the winning goal in a championship game. "That's it, Samuel. Now we're playing." Bit by bit, his shyness melted away, replaced by laughter. They played for the entire recess, and for the first time, Samuel felt like he was part of something bigger. He wasn't just the boy sitting in the corner of the yard anymore. He was Samuel, Sofia's friend, who knew how to turn a simple ball into a lively connection. Soon, other kids started to gather around, curious. "Can I play too?" asked Anna, a girl from their class. Sofia smiled. "Of course. The more, the merrier." Before long, a small group had formed around them, pulling the ribbons and laughing together. Samuel looked at Sofia, his eyes shining. He had never imagined something like this could happen. But not everyone was thrilled. A few boys playing soccer on the other side of the playground started whispering and snickering. "Look at Samuel, acting like he's really playing," one of them said loud enough for Sofia to hear. She froze for a moment, her expression growing serious. But before Samuel could retreat in embarrassment, she gripped the ribbon firmly and shot back. And what about you? Do you think you're better than him just because you can kick a ball? I bet you couldn't play like us if you tried. The boy fell silent, embarrassed, and returned to his soccer game. Sofia resumed their activity as if nothing had happened. Samuel didn't say anything, but at that moment, he realized that Sofia was ready to stand up for him, no matter what. That night, as he lay in bed, Samuel reflected on the day he'd had. For the first time, he allowed himself to imagine what it would be like if all kids could play together. But along with that thought came a nagging doubt: will this last, or is it too good to be true? The next morning, Samuel woke up with a feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time: excitement to go to school. He knew Sofia would be there, and that alone was enough to make his heart race. As his mom adjusted the seatbelt on his wheelchair, she noticed a faint smile on his face. "Feeling excited today, Samuel?" she asked, surprised. He just shrugged, but deep down, he knew the answer. When he arrived at school, there was Sofia, waiting for him at the gate as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "Good morning, Captain Samuel," she teased, already pushing his wheelchair toward the playground. "What did you come up with today?" he asked, laughing. Sofia opened her backpack and pulled out a large, colorful pinwheel and several sheets of paper folded into intricate shapes. "Today, we're flying kites," she announced, as if it were the simplest plan in the world. Samuel stared at her, incredulous. "Flying kites? Sofia, I can't even hold a string properly." Sofia shook her head, undeterred. "Who said you have to do it alone? We'll do it together." She tied the pinwheel string to the arm of his wheelchair and started jogging slowly, pulling Samuel along. A strong gust of wind blew, and the pinwheel spun so fast it looked like it was dancing in the sky. "Look, Samuel. You're flying a kite," Sofia shouted, laughing. He looked up and felt something incredible. For a few moments, it was as if he were flying alongside the pinwheel. The joy was so overwhelming that he let out a loud laugh, one of those deep, soul-felt laughs. Meanwhile, other kids stopped to watch. Many of them were laughing, not at Samuel but with him. Sofia's enthusiasm seemed to spread to everyone around. For the first time, Samuel wasn't the object of pitying looks, he was the boy inspiring others to join in. After recess, back in the classroom, Samuel turned to Sofia and asked, still a little hesitant, "Why do you do all this for me?" Sofia frowned, as if the question didn't even make sense. "Because you're my friend." "But you could play with anyone," he pressed. "So what?" Sofia replied with a smile. "You're special, Samuel. Everyone has something special about them, it's just that sometimes people don't notice." Sofia's words stayed with Samuel for the rest of the day. He had never thought of himself as someone special. For so long, he had believed his wheelchair was a barrier separating him from the world. But now, he was starting to see that maybe he was more than his limitations. That night, as he stared at the ceiling in his room, Samuel made a promise to himself: if Sofia thinks I'm special, maybe I can prove her right. What he didn't know was that life was about to test him in ways he never imagined. Days at school started to feel different for Samuel. He still faced curious stares and occasional whispers, but with Sofia by his side, those things didn't bother him as much as they used to. She had a way of turning every moment into something special, and he was slowly opening up to new possibilities. But then Friday came. From the moment he woke up, Samuel didn't feel well. His body felt weaker than usual, and he barely managed to eat breakfast. When he arrived at school, Sofia immediately noticed something was wrong. "Are you okay, Samuel?" she asked, concerned, as she pushed his wheelchair into the classroom. He tried to smile. "Just a little tired. Nothing serious." Sofia frowned but decided not to push. She knew Samuel didn't like worrying others. During recess, Sofia tried to cheer him up like always. She grabbed the ribbons and ball they used to play with and began creating a new story. "Today, we're explorers on a deserted island. We have to find the treasure before the tide comes in," she said excitedly. Samuel tried to play along, but his smile looked forced. "I don't think I can today, Sofia," he said quietly. "I just need to rest a bit." She stopped and knelt beside him. "Do you want me to take you inside?" she asked gently. He shook his head. "No. Just stay here with me." Sofia sat down next to him as the other kids played around them. For the first time, she saw his fragility up close and realized how much effort it took for him to show up every day. That afternoon, Samuel went home early. His mom, who came to pick him up, thanked Sofia for always being there for him. "You're such a blessing in Samuel's life, you know that," she said, her eyes filled with gratitude. But Sofia couldn't smile. Something inside her told her that Samuel needed more than she could give. On Monday, Samuel didn't come to school. Nor on Tuesday. Nor Wednesday. Sofia grew restless. She asked the teacher about him, but no one seemed to know for sure what was going on. It wasn't until Thursday that she got an answer. Samuel was at home, bedridden, because his weakness had worsened. His mom explained that it wasn't anything new, but that he needed time to recover. "Can I visit him?" Sofia asked, almost pleading. Samuel's mom hesitated. "He's very tired, Sofia. But I'll ask him." That night, as she held the drawing of a pirate ship they had made together, Sofia made a decision. No matter what happened, she would do everything she could to keep bringing joy into Samuel's life. But little did she know, destiny was about to test their friendship in ways neither of them could have imagined. On Friday, as Sofia was finishing her homework, the phone rang. It was Samuel's mom. "Sofia, he'd like to see you," she said in a gentle but tired voice. Sofia nearly jumped with excitement. She didn't even wait for her mom to finish packing a bag with drawings and toys. All she wanted was to be by her friend's side. When she arrived at Samuel's house, the atmosphere felt different. The living room, usually filled with laughter and conversation, was quiet. In his bedroom, Samuel lay in bed, wrapped in blankets. Despite his obvious frailty, he smiled as Sofia walked in. "You came," he said, his voice weak but happy. "Of course, I did," Sofia replied, trying to hide her concern. "I brought the drawings of our ship. We still have a treasure to find, remember?" Samuel smiled, his eyes shining briefly. "I don't know if I can keep going on the adventure, Sofia." "Don't say that," she interrupted, taking his hand. "I'll help you. I always will." They spent what felt like hours talking. Sofia shared funny stories from school, showed him the drawings, and even promised that when he got better, they'd make an even bigger kite than the last one. But deep down, she felt that something was changing. When it was time to leave, Sofia hesitated. "You'll be okay, right?" she asked, her eyes glistening with tears. Samuel squeezed her hand, the tired smile still on his face. "You always make me okay, Sofia." That night, Sofia prayed like she never had before. She asked God to take care of her friend, to give him strength, and to let them keep playing together for years to come. But the next morning, the unexpected happened. Sofia's mom entered her room quietly, sat down beside her, and held her hands. "Sweetheart, I need to tell you something," she said, tears in her eyes. Sofia's heart sank before she even heard the words. "Samuel passed away, honey. He's with God now." For a moment, Sofia's world seemed to stop. It felt like the ground had vanished beneath her feet. She didn't know what to say or think. All she could do was feel the crushing pain of losing the best friend she'd ever had. That night, as she stared at the colorful pinwheel on her desk, Sofia wondered, how am I supposed to go on without him? But deep down, a small voice whispered that Samuel was still with her in a way she didn't yet understand. In the days that followed, Sofia felt an overwhelming emptiness in her chest. School seemed quieter, recess felt less colorful. Even the games she once loved no longer made sense. Samuel wasn't there anymore, and she didn't know how to cope. On the day of the funeral, Sofia clutched the colorful pinwheel they had played with on the playground. She was nervous, unsure how it would feel to face Samuel's family or if she'd have the strength to say goodbye. When she arrived at the small village church, she saw how much Samuel had touched people's lives. Friends, neighbors, and even teachers who admired his strength and smile had gathered to honor him. Sofia stood beside Samuel's mother, who held a photo album as if it were a treasure. She smiled at Sofia, though her eyes were swollen from crying. "He cared about you so much, Sofia," she said, her voice trembling. "You brought so much light into his life." Sofia tried to respond, but the words were stuck in her throat. Then Samuel's mom pulled something from the album, the drawing of the pirate ship they had made together. "He wanted you to have this," she said, carefully handing Sofia the paper. "He always said you were a team, and that you made him feel strong." Sofia took the drawing with trembling hands. In the corner, in Samuel's crooked handwriting, were the words, "Friends forever." Later, at the village square, Sofia sat quietly, staring at the sky. She began to speak to Samuel, as if he could hear her. "I'll never forget you, Samuel. I promise to keep our adventures alive, for both of us." That night, as she packed her things for school, an idea came to her. What if I could make sure more people knew about Samuel? What if he could keep touching lives, even from up in the sky? On Monday, Sofia returned to school with the drawing of the pirate ship carefully folded in her backpack. The pain of losing Samuel was still there, but alongside it was something new, a determination to tell the world who Samuel was and what he had taught everyone. During art class, Sofia asked to speak. The teacher, noticing the seriousness in her eyes, agreed. "I want to tell a story," Sofia began, taking a deep breath. "A story about my best friend, Samuel." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what had happened, but no one expected Sofia to have the courage to talk about it. She pulled out the drawing and held it up for the class to see. "This was our pirate ship. We used to pretend we were sailing the seas, searching for treasure. But the greatest treasure I found was his friendship." Sofia shared stories about the games they created, how Samuel's smile could light up any room, and how he faced challenges with a strength she had never seen in anyone else. "He taught me that it doesn't matter what you can't do. What matters is what you do with what you have." When she finished, some of the kids were crying. Even the teacher looked emotional. "Thank you for sharing that, Sofia," she said with a gentle smile. "I think we've all learned something from Samuel." After class, a few kids approached Sofia. "Do you think we could play pirates too?" asked Anna, one of the girls who had often watched Sofia and Samuel's games from afar. "Of course you can," Sofia replied with a smile. Samuel would love that. In the days that followed, Sofia noticed that Samuel's story began to change the school. Kids started including each other more, even those who were shy or different. It was as if his legacy was creating a new kind of friendship, where no one was left out. An idea began to grow in Sofia's heart. What if we could do something bigger to remember Samuel? Something that could help other kids never feel alone the way he once did? That night, as Sofia looked at the pirate ship drawing hanging on her wall, she remembered Samuel's mom's words, "You brought light into his life." Now, Sofia wanted that light to reach even more people. The next morning, during breakfast, she turned to her parents with an idea that seemed far too big for a 10-year-old girl. "I want to create a place at school to remember Samuel," she said with determination. Her parents exchanged surprised but curious glances. "A place? What do you mean, Sofia?" her mom asked. "A bench, or a special corner on the playground," Sofia explained. "Where kids can play together and remember that no one should ever be left out." Her dad smiled, proud of his daughter's initiative. "That's a beautiful idea, Sofia. But how do you plan to do it?" "I'm going to talk to the principal," she replied, as if it were the simplest thing in the world. At school, Sofia requested a meeting with the principal, who was deeply moved by her proposal. "You're absolutely right, Sofia. Samuel taught us so much, and it would be wonderful to have something to remember him by. Let's make this happen together." The plan began to take shape. A colorful bench would be placed on the playground, with the inscription, "Samuel's Bench, where friendships begin." Additionally, Sofia suggested creating a special day at school, called Inclusion Day, to celebrate friendship and teach kids about empathy. As everything was being organized, Sofia felt like she was fulfilling something greater, something even she couldn't fully understand. During a conversation with her grandmother, Sofia shared her thoughts. "Sometimes, I think God put Samuel in my life for a reason." Her grandmother, a wise and faithful woman, held Sofia's hand. "I have no doubt about that, my dear. God uses people to teach us important lessons. Samuel brought light into your life, and now you're spreading that light to the world." Those words stayed with Sofia. She realized that even with the pain of losing him, Samuel's purpose continued to live on through her actions. When the day came to dedicate the bench, Sofia had a surprise prepared, a speech she had written for Samuel. But as she stepped up to speak, something unexpected happened. The wind picked up, and the colorful pinwheel Sofia had placed near the bench began spinning rapidly. It caught everyone's attention, as if Samuel's presence was making itself known. Sofia smiled through her tears, holding the microphone tightly. "Samuel taught us that everyone deserves to be included, that everyone has something special to share. This bench isn't just for him, it's for all of us, to remind us to be kind, to look out for each other, and to never leave anyone behind." She paused, her voice trembling but steady. "Samuel may not be here anymore, but his light is. And it will keep shining, as long as we carry it with us." By the time Sofia finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the crowd. Teachers, students, and parents all clapped, some wiping their tears, others holding hands. From that day on, Samuel's bench became a symbol of inclusion, kindness, and the enduring power of friendship. And Sofia knew, deep in her heart, that Samuel's legacy would continue to inspire for years to come. The day of the inauguration of Samuel's Bench dawned with clear skies and a gentle breeze, the kind that makes pinwheels spin effortlessly. The entire school gathered in the playground, where the colorful bench was hidden under a white cloth, waiting for its big reveal. Sofia was nervous but determined. In her hands, she held the speech she had written the night before. As she looked out at the faces of her classmates and teachers, she felt a wave of courage. This was for Samuel, and for all the children he would inspire. The principal began the event with kind words, highlighting Samuel's impact on the school. She then invited Sofia to step onto the small makeshift stage. "Good morning, everyone," Sofia began, her voice trembling but full of emotion. "Today, we're here to remember a very special friend. Samuel isn't with us anymore, but he left behind something that will never fade, the lesson that no one should be left out." She paused, holding up the pirate ship drawing she had brought with her. "Samuel taught me that it doesn't matter what you can't do. What matters is what you do with what you have. He never let his limitations stop him from dreaming, and I think God brought him into my life to show me how love and friendship can change everything." As Sofia spoke, she noticed tears in the eyes of many in the crowd, including Samuel's parents, seated in the front row. This bench is here to remind us that we can always include someone, that friendship can begin with a simple gesture. Because, as Samuel taught me, no one is ever truly alone. When she finished, Sofia took a deep breath and pulled the white cloth off the bench. Applause echoed through the playground as the vibrant colors of Samuel's bench were revealed. Engraved on the backrest were the words, "Where friendships begin." But what happened next surprised everyone. A strong gust of wind swept through the playground, spinning the pinwheels Sofia had brought to decorate the area. The breeze seemed to whisper, and for a moment, Sofia looked up at the sky and felt an immense peace. She smiled, as if she knew Samuel was there, celebrating with them. After that day, Samuel's bench became the favorite spot for kids at the school. Anyone who sat there knew they wouldn't be alone, because there was always someone ready to share a game or a conversation. In addition, Inclusion Day became an annual tradition, spreading the message of empathy and love. Samuel and Sofia's story was shared so many times that it began to inspire other schools in the region. As Sofia grew older, she realized that Samuel had fulfilled a purpose far greater than she had ever imagined. Their friendship hadn't just changed her life, it had transformed an entire community. One evening, Sofia looked up at the sky again, holding the pirate ship drawing in her hands. With a soft smile, she whispered, "Thank you, Samuel. I'll never forget you." And as the wind continued to blow, spinning the pinwheels around the bench, Sofia felt something she could never explain, the certainty that even in absence, Samuel's love would live on. And what about you? Have you ever been a Samuel to someone, or had someone be a Samuel to you? Share your story in the comments and let's spread the message of inclusion and love. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story to inspire others. This is Stories That Embrace. God bless, and see you in the next story.